Hello, ladies and gents. I am Kristin, and welcome to my channel, From Chronic Fatigue to Chronic Abundance. Every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I go live to answer your questions about how to live better while you're still looking for answers, while you're living with severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. Now, whatever the cause of your severe chronic fatigue, maybe you have been diagnosed with ME/CFS, maybe you have lupus or severe hypothyroidism, or maybe you haven't been diagnosed with anything yet. There are common challenges we face when we have severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. And having lived through several bouts of this, several recovery and relapse cycles of this, I have a lot of input to give. Now, why am I talking about this on the internet? I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed in any which way or form in anything in life. I'm not licensed. So I can't give medical advice. I can't diagnose anything. I can't tell you what to do. But I have figured out how to heal, because each time I had relapsed, I healed faster and faster because I learned how to tackle the problem. And now, 4 years later, I feel like I have finally mastered how to avoid relapse. When I say 4 years later, I mean it's been 4 years since my last recovery, okay? My healing journey began 10 years ago. 10 years ago this month, my health journey started, just when I was only 25 years old. And like many of you, my severe health issues robbed me of my life as I knew it then. It left me unable to hold a job. It left me unable to claim the identity of being a consultant. I wasn't able to work out anymore. I didn't have a social life. I could barely plan for the future. It literally was just a let's get through today and see if I can find some answers and figure out how to get my life back. And it was like that for a few years the first time. So when I say I learned how to heal, it's important for you to know that I didn't find some magic plan that made me all better, okay? It wasn't about a specific treatment. It wasn't about a specific supplement or anything like that. In fact, each time I healed, I needed different things. My body needed different things to heal each time. So my healing journey was all over the place, okay? Each time I healed, it wasn't about doing the same thing. It was about finding the new things that I needed. What was the same was my approach to discovering what my body needed to heal. And what drove my approach to healing, and what I talk mostly about on this channel, was my mindset. I eventually discovered and began to practice and embody what I call the healing mindset. Okay, important caveat. If you haven't heard me talk about this before, I am not saying that my health issues were in my head and then I fixed it with my head, okay? I had actual physical problems that needed to be discovered and addressed over time for me to get better. But having the right mindset helped shape how I showed up in my healing journey. It helped shape which doctors I chose to work with and how I interacted with them. It helped shape how often I chose to rest and avoid crashes to give myself the best chance for healing. It shaped my ability to take it easy when really I wanted to go to that party I was invited to, right? It shaped how I lived. My mindset shaped how I lived. And that's why it was so powerful, because it also helped me save a little bit of energy every day. The right mindset is actually energy giving. It's not enough energy to get us all the way better typically, but it gives us enough energy to have a little bit more to pour into discovering our healing journey every day. And isn't that what we're all after? A little bit more energy so we can get better and better and better and better. So the way this works is you just type up your questions and you pop them into the chat box. I think it's on that side for you. I think that's what I've been told. It looks like it's on this side for me, but I think you guys see it over there. And I'll give you my take on the answers. No question is too big or too small or too weird or too personal or too anything. I am here to talk about it all, okay? I mean, last week we talked about how to heal when you're living in a house with a narcissist and you're on the narcissist bad side, something I have a lot of personal experience with. So I had my take on that. We've talked a lot about diet and nutrition. We've talked about how to manage specific emotions like anger and guilt. We've talked about how to talk to family members when there's some conflict there and maybe some doubt and they're not supportive enough. how to go about having a crush on somebody, how to think about your future, how to have some sort of project that you can work on even while you're severely ill, to help give yourself a small sense of accomplishment every day, and to help prove to yourself that even though your capacities are vastly diminished, you still have enough in you to make some small progress on something in your life, which is profoundly motivating and so important for people who are feeling like they're at the end of hope and struggling to understand why they would keep going on. If you have something that you can show yourself progress on over time, man, it's a game changer and really, really helps shore up that mindset and that hope and that motivation. So we've talked about like a huge, I mean, that doesn't even begin to like cover the tip of the iceberg of all the different topics that we've covered, but I share those to give you an example of what kind of questions I'm open to and what kind of questions you can ask to get your creative juices flowing. It does take a little bit of vulnerability. It can be hard to ask questions in this format because then other people are going to see what you're struggling with. I can tell you, if you're struggling with it, I've probably struggled with it too at some point, and there are going to be people watching this who have also struggled with this and could use the answer to the question that you're answering. So it's great for you. It's great for other people. It's also great for me because I'm a lot better at answering questions that are posed to me than I am just standing here and talking about something. Because when I just stand here talking about something, I don't really know how relevant it is to your life right now. I don't know how important it is to you. So I don't feel as motivated and engaged as when I'm talking about something I know that's going to be able to help you today. Okay. Because the biggest thing I've learned about health is that, so many of us, and I was like this too at the beginning, we're looking for that silver bullet. We're looking for that one doctor to help us heal. We're looking for the one supplement. We're looking to hear what other people who are still sick are doing. And that doesn't help us get better. Does not help us get better. That mentality of, I need to ask sick people how to get better. I need to find the one doctor who's going to heal me. I need to find the one supplement or treatment that's going to get my energy back. I need the one tip or the one hack or whatever. Okay. It's not like that. It's not even a collection of tips and hacks. It's really a long journey to dedicate yourself to. All right. So I need some questions. And I'll just ramble on until I get them. Let me change the angle on this a little bit. It kind of looks like I match. This isn't cheetah. It's just like a tortoise shell, but I guess the colors match enough. It looks like I'm coordinated. That wasn't planned. Same with my glasses. They're tortoise shell. But let's see. What can I talk about? One of the things that I've thought about recently, I'm always thinking about back when I was still sick. Like it's just, it's just shaped my life today so much, having been ill and what I went through, that it's still like always there. I'm always comparing things to how they were back then. And I think it's actually healthy to do that because it keeps me grateful for how good my life is. Because back then I had almost nothing and had almost no hope for having anything ever again. One of the things that's come up for me recently that I've been reflecting on has been, while we're all in quarantine, I've seen it talked about in this community where in multiple ways, normal people are having similar experiences to people who have been chronically ill with severe chronic fatigue, right? They're stuck in their homes and they can't go anywhere. And that has its own psychological challenge to it. So like, in addition to all the challenges that are brought upon our lives when we have severe chronic fatigue for any reason, is the additional psychological challenge of being limited, of not being able to freely move about in our world, of not being able to go to the store anytime we need something, of not being able to hop on a bus to get to a doctor's appointment, having our options so severely limited. When you're ill, it's because your energy is so low, and during quarantine, for people who aren't ill, they're limited because of, fears of becoming ill, needing to protect immunocompromised family members, of, not wanting to be outside with a mask on. There's a whole bunch of reasons keeping people at home. Not being able to travel is a big one, keeping people at home. And, I think it's important to have a lot of compassion for ourselves when we're still trying to heal. And, it's not about making excuses for ourselves. It's not about saying like, oh my God, my life is so hard, and being stuck in the house all the time and not being able to leave makes it even harder. This is just even so much more unfair. Like, we're not going down that road of like self-pity and victimhood, but it's more about being able to say to yourself, my life is already so hard because of this illness, and the psychological challenge of being stuck in the house and not being able to leave is also really freaking hard. Just acknowledging that at face value, it's real, it's truth. There is no drama in that. There is no victimhood. It is just acknowledging this sucks. And having that extra compassion for yourself, that you are going through a lot of challenges, and that the number of challenges you have is compounded by your illness. And when you can have that compassion for yourself instead of like, victimhood or whining, that compassion can help you say to yourself, wow, like I'm really going through a lot. I need to be extra super duper gentle with myself. I need to be really kind and forgiving and understanding, and allow that to add to the number of reasons why you need to rest more, and why focusing on your health and recovery is the number one thing you should be doing in your life. I'm going to say when you're super ill and severe chronic fatigue is a symptom, is preventing you from going to school, high violet melon, it's preventing you from working, it's preventing you from living the life you want, even if you can still work. If it's preventing you from having any sort of social life or life outside of working hours, like all you can do is just the bare minimum to sustain your job and your life, that's still not much of a life, right? So no matter where you are on that spectrum, being able to say that like, I have to heal, I have to get my life and my energy and my health back, right? And having that compassion for yourself can help motivate you to do the things you need to do to put your health before all else. And of course, it can always be a really big challenge to put everything else in life second to your healing journey, because there are plenty of things that we want to do short term that actually conflict with our healing goals. And having the motivation to say no to those things and to be like, here's what my priorities are, I'm going to live according to my priorities, is going to help you on your healing journey. It is going to get you there faster. It is going to be worth that extra effort. Raf, you assembled garden furniture and you took a 75-minute walk. That's a long walk. Like, there are healthy people who don't want to go for a 75-minute walk because it's too exhausting for them. Do you realize that's incredible? How do you feel? How do you feel today, Raf? Maybe I should have asked that before I assumed you feel good today. I hope you're not crashing. I have someone knocking at my door, guys. I'll be right back. How do I mute this? Okay, sorry about that. That doesn't normally happen. One of our building guys delivered a package, which never happens. It was nice, though. It was very sweet of him. Okay. All right. Raf says, second time plus 60 minutes, but you did have a mini crash. I had a mini crash today, nothing. Doing chores in the house like it's a normal day. So you did a little crash, so you did a little bit too much effort. Maybe scale it back just 5 minutes next time, but you're having a great day today, the day after. That's huge progress. That's incredible, Raf. And yeah, let's clap. Celebrate your wins. I hope you find yourself wanting to do that again. Oh shoot, someone's knocking again. I'm really sorry about this. This is not normal. All right, hopefully that's the last one. We had another package delivered. Guys, so sorry. Let's see. Okay, so Raf, you're saying the first time you did your 60-minute plus walk, you had a mini crash. So you did your 75-minute walk yesterday and no crash. That is amazing. Amazing, amazing. What did I order? My boyfriend got the big package, and then I had to buy an extension cord for my mic here. My mic cord isn't long enough for some of the other filming I want to do at home, so I had to order a new one. Well, not a new one, just I had to order an extension cord for it. Because I am doing some fun video projects right now. Let's see. Yeah, so yay, Raf. Congrats. You know, as we always know, it's wonderful to celebrate these wins. We can't expect to be able to do this all the time. Like, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to take big walks like this every day or even every week. But the fact that you're able to do this sometimes now is a great sign of progress. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring for you. But super, super happy that today seems like a good day after a big day yesterday. So enjoy it, savor it. It's beautiful. Yay. Alrighty then. Yeah, compassion. I was talking about compassion before. Having more compassion for yourself can be motivating because we can acknowledge the nuances of the challenges in our life, of the difficulty we face, and respond accordingly. You know, instead of putting all this pressure. Some people, when they first get ill, or even after they've been ill for years, they have this bad habit of berating themselves and putting pressure on themselves to do more, to keep doing. I should be doing, I should be cleaning, I should be going out, I should be. And they push too much and they crash. And every time they crash, they're actually setting themselves back further and further from their health goals. We need to be avoiding crashes in order to start getting better, to give our bodies the best chance to heal, the optimal conditions to heal once we do find the additional factors that we need on our healing journey. Okay. Violet, have you been on the channel before? I don't recognize, actually, maybe I do kind of recognize your name. Maybe you have been here once before. You can tell me. I'm trying to remember the people who show up in the chat box because I love participation. And I especially love it when you guys talk to each other in the chat box, because then it's not just about like me being here. It's about a community of support, because I don't have all of the answers. You know, there's a reason why I just do these free live Q&As every week. It's because I feel like I have really important things to share. I want to be supportive. I want to be here for you. It's not something I have to do. You know, it's not, I don't make any money off of this. It's just something I feel compelled to be doing. So it is your first time. Okay, awesome. Well, welcome, Violet. Super glad you're here and that you found us. What was I saying? I was talking about how, yeah, I'm here because I want to be, not because I make any money off of this. I do think I have important things to share with you guys. And I'd like that to be tailored to what's going on in your life currently. That's why I like responding to questions. And that's also why, like, I don't have a treatment plan that I'm creating. I don't have a book in the works that tells other people how to heal, because In my experience, it's extremely nuanced, discovering what you need to heal. Like some people have been able to go take like one course and do that one course and they get like all the way better and their lives are back, and that's amazing and wonderful. But I think for most people, their healing journeys are more nuanced and more varied than that. Where like, you might find one thing that helps a lot, but people typically need multiple of those things to get all the way over the finish line. And the best way I know how to encourage people to do that and to share that is to talk about it with you guys live. Okay, Violet, I'm not officially diagnosed with ME/CFS. Your rheumatologist threw the fibromyalgia label at you. I like how you phrased that because I think it's very accurate. But in your research, ME/CFS seems more accurate. And yeah, and here's the thing, like there's a lot of similar symptoms. And ME/CFS and fibromyalgia are not diseases. They don't point to a specific problem. They're actually just, like you said, you used the word label. They're just a label for something. In both cases of ME/CFS and fibromyalgia, doctors have just said, well, we have all these people who have the same symptoms, and we see the same set of symptoms in these people over and over and over again. We're going to define this specific set of symptoms with this label. And then this specific set of symptoms is going to have this label. So that's all it is. It's just saying like, well, I don't know. I can't think of an analogy very quickly. But it's just a way of categorizing symptoms that doctors don't understand and don't have a real treatment plan for. So I know people, it can feel good to have a diagnosis, to be acknowledged that something is going wrong, but these things are just labels and they don't actually do much to help you move forward. I said I did very restful activities in the morning while recovering. For you to get energy from hurrying into the shower and get into action, even if that means reading something out loud. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I've talked about what works for me on this channel a lot, what I did. And I'm not saying that that's like the way to do things. I'm not saying that's how other people should be doing them necessarily. Sometimes I share specifics to give you examples, but the healing mindset is really about discovering your unique needs for healing. It's all about discovering what works best for you personally. And that requires a lot of experimentation. And that's why you need a really robust mindset that gets you through the effort of experimentation and gives you the patience to do experimentation well. That helps you say, okay, I found 10 things I want to try. I'm going to try them one at a time, so I can really understand how my body responds to this one thing, and I can understand if it's working for me or not. And then I'll add in the next thing, and then the next, slowly over time. Because when you don't have the patience for that and you start doing everything at once, it can be overwhelming physically, mentally, and emotionally. And it's not a sustainable way to try to heal, in my experience. So so it's about having the right mindset to embrace the fact that because we have poorly understood health issues, we have to take the time to experiment, discover what we need, have patience with that, and also spend a lot of time really getting in tune with our body's messages, all the different sensations our bodies have throughout the day, acknowledging that our emotions are another set of biofeedback that we should be listening to on our healing journey to help us understand what works and what doesn't for us, and really letting our bodies lead us in our healing journeys, not using our minds to say, well, this should work for me. Like, it doesn't matter what should work for you. It doesn't matter what research says in general, because almost no biological research is 100% absolute, applies to every single person that's alive. And you don't know where you fall in the set of outcomes from research that's done. Like, you don't know if you're part of the 33% that it works for, or if you're part of the 66% that it doesn't work for. You don't know, like, for example, and the only way to find out what works for you is to try things. Violet says, yes, I'm learning that even within ME/CFS, there are subsets. Yep, constellations of similar symptoms. Yeah, and subsets of different causes. Like some people have a viral origin of theirs. A lot of people don't have a viral origin, for example. Raf says, Coach, I get mixed results with an active morning routine. It can be harsh on the body, but if I do the right amount, it can help me feel energized and awake. Yeah. And finding that right amount, like it just, every day we wake up, we have to acknowledge that we don't know what our body needs today until we get up and start living in our body and start experiencing our body, and being able to be open to the fact that, like, okay, I feel good right now, but knowing that at any moment we could do this much too much effort and find ourselves in a crash. So wanting to avoid that, it's about exploring how much effort we can get into today. Instead of deciding in advance, I'm going to do this whole thing, it's about like, okay, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to watch my body, how it's feeling every single moment through this. And the moment I can feel my early warning signs popping up that I'm overexerting myself, that's when I'll stop so I can avoid a crash, And that can be a very challenging way to live. No doubt it can be exhausting. It can be very tiring, but it gets us more deeply in tune with our body's messages, which helps us avoid more crashes, which helps us understand what is and what is not working. So, like, I think it's awesome that you've been able to experiment, Raf, with more energetic morning routines and seeing what works for you sometimes and what doesn't. And if, it sounds like some of your mornings you can do more and some you can do less. And if you can wake up every morning with that experimental mindset of, I'm going to discover how much I can do today, and I'm going to honor my body and stop when it says it's done. It might be interesting to see how that helps your morning activity output trend over time. Raf says, yes, some advice you need will never be given to you. You have to trust what your body is telling you and give that advice to yourself. Powerful, super powerful. Raf, what is your recovery plan, Violet? Violet says, it is humbling for sure. That's a good word for it. It is very humbling because we have to trust, we have to acknowledge that our minds aren't going to heal us. We really need to give the reins over to our body and say, you're leading this show. You're leading this healing journey. I am here to serve you, body. I am here to listen to you. I am here to support you in any way I can. And I'm here to try to figure this out with you. Being in partnership with the body is crucial. It's a crucial aspect of the healing mindset. Not seeing the body as an adversary and something that's broken and something that's getting in the way of your life, as something that hates you. I've seen people talk about their bodies hating them. You're never going to go anywhere if you feel like your body is a ball and chain. Your body is a de facto partner in your life. Your body relies upon your mind just as much as your mind relies upon your body. They both need each other to live. Okay. And approaching that partnership from a place of being empowered, of acknowledging that your body is doing the best it can each and every single moment. And maybe that isn't as good as you want your body to be doing, but you can't fault your body for needing help, right? You need to be there for your body because your body is there for you every single day when you were taking it for granted, right? Like it's that reciprocity in relationship. Like having a really good friend, like if your best friend is going through a really hard time, you're going to do everything you can to be there for them. It's the same with our body, the same kind of relationship we want to have there. Violet says she's had plan after plan. She's blamed her symptoms on depression, candida, parasites, etc. She's in the process of what exactly is going on and how to tend to it. She's forming a new plan. Yep. Totally normal. It's I want to normalize the fact that when you're in an experimental mindset about your health, you're going to try a lot of things that don't work. I tried tons of things that didn't work over the years. Like, what are some of the things? So something as simple as taking magnesium. Magnesium is generally a supplement that a lot of like functional medicine or holistic doctors are going to recommend, because our diets are generally deficient in magnesium because our soils don't contain as much magnesium as they used to. Soil depletion is a whole other issue I could talk about for an hour. Excuse me. I don't feel well when I take magnesium. My doctor wants me to take magnesium, but I tell it, like, every now and then I'll be like, okay, I'll give it another shot. Let's see how this goes. I don't feel well on it. The only way to know that is to try it, though. Niacin. My doctor really wants me to take niacin, and I feel terrible when I'm not on niacin. So when I say niacin, there's a couple different kinds of niacin. There's like the straight up niacin, which causes flushing at certain doses. Like the flushing dose depends on the person. It's very personal. And then there's niacinamide, which is non-flushing niacin. I'm talking about the flushing type of niacin. And when I'm on the flushing type of niacin, I take very low doses to flush. I flush very easily on it. And, it's supposed to be triggering like a lot of detox in the body. And I just feel awful when I'm on it. My doctor's like, well, if you feel that bad on it, he's like, that's a sign that you really need it. And we need to get you through this. And there was, I don't know, a 6 to 9 month period like 5, 6 years ago, where my doctor was like, all right, can you just be on it? And can you just like know that you're going to feel kind of terrible when you're on it? And can we just like get through that phase to help you feel better? And I was like, okay, fine, let's do this. So I did commit to it for that time period, but I never started feeling better. I never was able to increase my dose of niacin. And at some point I said, I feel terrible. I'm just not doing this anymore. I know you want me to, doctor. I know you talk about the benefits. I'm not doing this anymore. What else can we do, right? What are other things I've tried that didn't work? There have definitely been, there are certain types of meditation people talk about are so beneficial and so great and help with their mind and help with their energy and stuff. And it just doesn't do it for me. There's very specific styles of meditation that work for me that are more about the mind-body connection. I really like the small, tiny, slow movements that trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. When you're in a meditative state, those work really great for me. Other styles of meditation don't do anything for me health-wise. I've tried acupuncture. Acupuncture, as much as I think it should work for me, as much as I believe in it, there's a lot of science behind acupuncture now. I don't need to believe in it. There's science behind it. I really thought acupuncture would do a lot of things, great things for me. Acupuncture has done almost nothing for me. And I've tried it a bunch. It doesn't do a lot. I tried chiropractic, thinking that maybe, something's out of alignment. And, you read things online, people got in a chiropractic adjustment and then everything was suddenly better. That didn't do anything for me. We've talked before about how I've been on some different types of diets over the years, cutting things out. And for the most part, those didn't really do much for me health-wise. There's been a lot that I've tried that hasn't worked. As much as people always ask what did work for you, there are plenty of things that did not work for me that have worked for others. And I share that just to say again that our health journeys are all very personal, okay? And what worked for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. And what didn't work for me might be great for you. There's only one way to find out. Oh, Ralph, what is flushing? When you take niacin, flushing is whenever your skin turns bright red. You get very bright red and splotchy on parts of your body when you take niacin, or sometimes your whole body can turn bright red when you're on niacin. I don't think I have any. I don't know that I could. Where's my phone? I was going to maybe bring a picture up on my phone, but I think it might take me too long to find a picture. It's just you feel very hot. Your blood vessels are all dilated. You got a lot of blood coming to the surface of your skin. is flushing when you're on niacin. Raf doesn't tolerate vitamin D supplements. Even when his levels are too low, he feels better without. And then he doesn't wake up in the middle of the night. That's super interesting and weird, right? Like, what's going on there? Who knows? But it doesn't work for Raf. Violet, yeah, I do have advice on finding a doctor. I have quite a few videos where I've talked about that. I can hit on some of the highlights here. So you're in Boston. Okay, I'm in Philly, so not close, but not too far away. Harvard is doing a lot of studies. You'd think it would be easier, but doesn't seem so. The doctor thing. So I think it's great people are studying ME/CFS and other conditions like this more often. The unfortunate thing is, in my own experience and in the experience of the people I personally know who have healed, studies aren't looking at the right things. I've seen a lot of studies being done on ME/CFS, and they're all looking for biomarkers, and they're looking for this protein, and they're looking at that immunological signal, and they're looking at all these things that so many people haven't needed to address in order to heal. So, I think there's a big disconnect between where doctors are doing research and what's actually helped a lot of people heal so far. That aside, when it comes to finding a doctor, I personally have not found any help from conventional medicine. So like going to hospital systems, going to specialists, didn't get me anywhere. They all did all the blood work and they all looked me straight in the eye and said, "You look healthy, you're fine. You just need to stress less." Which isn't a helpful thing to say to someone, even if that really is the only problem that they have. And while it's true that my life did have a way too much stress in it, stressing less wasn't going to heal me at that point because my body was so broken at that point. I was so severely out of balance and in multiple ways that stressing less was not going to get me better. The first time I healed, I didn't work with any licensed doctors to get better. I found alternative health professionals to help me heal. And there wasn't ever just one person. It's always been like a series of people who have been there for different steps of my healing journey. Okay. The first time I healed, I worked with a licensed acupuncturist who didn't practice acupuncture on me. They were able to order me blood work and then analyze that blood work for me and then give me supplement protocols to help treat the imbalances that they found, which was amazing because that was the first person who had done the right blood work on me and actually found things that were wrong after all these like conventional doctors found nothing wrong. But that person only got me through like a little portion of my healing journey. And then it took me, another year and a half before I found another person who could help me. And this person was just a health coach, I think they may have gotten like a coaching certification or something. But at that time, 8-9 years ago, I don't know if there were too many like health coach certifications. And the reason I worked with them is because they had almost the exact same story to me. We had been in the same career, experiencing a lot of the same issues, experiencing the same type of lifestyle. Our health issues came on out of the blue very quickly, prevented us from being able to work. Her health issues had actually been more severe, and she learned how to heal and, was then working as a health coach, teaching other people how to get their lives back. And she was pivotal for me the first time I was sick and needed to heal. The second time I became ill, I did reach out to her, but she wasn't working as a health coach anymore. And the second time I did manage to find a doctor locally. Now, this doctor is not a conventional doctor. He's not part of a medical system. He has his own singular practice. He practices holistic medicine, which treats the body as a whole, doesn't treat the liver as a separate entity. It acknowledges the fact that the liver is connected to the rest of the body and is impacted by the rest of the body, that kind of medicine. So when you're looking for a doctor, I highly, highly recommend looking for these solo practitioners, because it's a lot harder for them to have a solo practice than it is to work at a doctor's office. It's very hard to have to be a doctor and to have to get your own patients and to have to run a business. Okay. The reason that they're doing that is because they need to practice medicine the way that's honest to them, which tends to be more holistic or functional. That doesn't mean every doctor out there that is an independent doctor, or is holistic or functional is right for you. There are plenty of holistic and functional doctors out there that don't have any expertise in your specific health issues and your specific symptoms. All right. You want to find someone who specializes, who has already helped tons and tons of people with symptoms like yours, who specializes in cases like yours. It's also really important, I think, to find a doctor who has an experimental attitude. If you go in and you find these doctors who have one treatment protocol, one process they take everybody through, one set of everything that they do, in my experience, they're not going to be able to help you because they're not going to be adaptable to your personal needs, regardless of whatever they say. Does that, maybe one of them out there is great for you. I don't know, but in my experience, I wouldn't spend my time on them. When you do find someone who's great, who has an experimental mindset, you need to view the first appointment as an interview. You're interviewing them to say, am I going to work with this doctor long-term? How much do I trust what they have to say? And you're going to evaluate them by first seeing how much time they give you for the appointment. Are they giving you like 30 to 60 minutes? Like 10-minute appointments aren't going to cut it when our health is as bad as yours is and mine was. You need to evaluate how are they listening to you? Do they believe you right off the bat? Do they give you time to talk? Do they answer your questions thoroughly? Do they care about you being informed enough to make good decisions for yourself? How do they speak to you? Do they speak to you like you're an equal and they believe you and they trust you and there's reciprocity there? Or are they talking down to you and talking at you? You really, really want to make sure that you feel like you're going into a partnership with somebody, where you trust them, you respect them, you have good communication with them. You can have a healthy doctor-patient relationship going forward, and to have that time to ask questions and have them answered thoroughly so you can make informed decisions. You definitely want to work with a doctor who treats your healing journey as a series of your decisions, right? They're not here to tell you what to do. They're here to give you their recommendation and to get you comfortable with their recommendations, not to be authoritative and give orders, right? And it can take a lot of time to find great doctors like this. However, I have said this over and over again, it is worth the effort and the time it takes to find one of these amazing doctors. Don't give up looking for them. I know it can be frustrating. I know we can get so exhausted. I know it can deplete our resources seeing doctor after doctor like this. But by doing a little more research up front, by asking more questions on the phone before your first appointment, you can limit the number of bad doctor's appointments you go on, and hopefully be able to focus on the better doctors and really being choosy with the doctors you spend your time and money with, right? Let's see. Raf says meditation helps me, but only with non-CFS related stuff. Yeah, I agree with that, Raf. So you don't beat yourself up for not doing meditation. It's a tool, but just that. Exactly. Cool. Get yourselves some cute little red cheeks next week. I am LEA. I'm not sure what LEA means. Leah? Raf, biomarkers are a waste of time and harm the validity of CFS. What's wrong with the ANS and central nervous system in general can't be measured by molecules in the blood. I think I generally agree with you on this point, Raf. I personally just, I don't know what these doctors are trying to do. They're taking a very conventional approach to treating ME/CFS as a disease, as opposed to I don't know as opposed to what I don't know. I don't know what words to use there, but they're treating it like a conventional disease with a singular cause. Oh my God, third time. I'll be right back. The door's knocking. It was a grocery delivery this time. I don't know why this is the time everything's coming to our door, but it is. Yeah, Raf, in my experience, like the core of most like ME/CFS, severe fatigue as a symptom is with the autonomic nervous system. And with the nervous systems in general, I don't think it's the only thing, but I do think that's a central component, and I don't see that studied in these ME/CFS studies. So I just don't feel like they're looking at the right thing. It's really frustrating that the doctors are doing a good job in listening to severely ill ME/CFS patients. I don't think they're doing a good job because they're ignoring the people who have healed and their experiences, and I think that's a massive, massive oversight. Violet says, whoops, I am leaning toward Chinese traditional medicine, but it gets expensive and I'm not currently working. It's such a juggling act, which is exhausting. But I guess you got to work with what you got. That's all any of us can do, Violet. You know, we all have different resources. We all have different time and money and energy available. And what we have is what we have. And finding the best path forward is the best that we can do. I have also experimented with Chinese medicine, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and had really mixed results there. Really, really mixed results there. I wouldn't say it helped me with my severe chronic fatigue or that health journey. I did return to traditional Chinese medicine when I was experiencing some hormonal issues like 2 years ago. Like, you know, it wasn't causing like fatigue and it wasn't disrupting my life, but I was, you know, I'm a woman, I have periods. My periods were getting really weird and I was having other symptoms around my periods. So I turned to traditional Chinese medicine and saw some insanely fast and amazing changes in my body due to using herbs, custom blended herbs. When I say custom blended herbs, I don't mean I was taking little pills. I mean, I was getting bags full of like dried sticks and fruits and twigs and all kinds of like crazy stuff I'd never seen in my life. And then I was boiling that in my kitchen and turning it into a liquid and then drinking this foul tasting liquid every day. But it was actually really phenomenal in how it helped correct my hormonal issues. But then after several months of steadiness, you know, the TCM practitioner took me off the herb. She's like, okay, seems like you're great. Your solids are good. A few months later, things started to go really sideways with my hormones. So at this point, it's hard for me to say if it was worth doing that because I feel like my body's kind of a little more messed up than it was before I tried it. And the TCM practitioner was just kind of like, oh, that's weird. You know, like her response to my health issues didn't seem appropriate. She seemed very offhand about it and like, oh, we can try some more. And, you know, like you can spend hundreds of more dollars and maybe it'll work again and maybe it won't. And, you know, and that's part of the experimental mindset. But I think it was more like her energy around the situation was a little too cavalier. So that's another like criteria I I evaluate doctors on or practitioners on is like, how seriously do you take my health issues, and how seriously do you take the fact that, yes, we need an experimental approach, but we need to factor in the likelihood of efficacy, because I have limited resources here. I can't do this. I can't just go spend $500 on something on a whim. I need you to believe that there is at least a good likelihood that this is going to do something good for me, right? And if they don't, I'm not going to go for it. All right. Violet has endocrine issues. Oh my gosh, you went into premature menopause at 39, which I found out is found in ME/CFS. I mean, premature menopause, that's really serious. I mean, that's some scary stuff right there, because those are massive hormonal changes at a time when you don't expect them. Yeah. Oh, hi, Jack. Good to see you. Violet, I'm concerned about protecting my adrenals in my healing process. Something you should be concerned about, which, sounds to me like you're worried about like your stress levels, and preserving your non-sex hormone health as well. Because I mean, like, the adrenals put out cortisol and adrenaline, which are hormones as well. But yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like there's a lot going on hormonally that, I mean, what Ralph was talking about earlier, he brought up the ANS, the central nervous system. What a lot of people experience is that once they start paying attention to it, their nervous system is constantly in overdrive on the stress side of things. The sympathetic nervous system is dominant in our bodies, and that produces a whole host of issues long term. It produces when our, I guess I'll share this that's relevant with you. Whenever we're in sympathetic nervous system dominance, we're in stressed out mode. Our body intentionally changes our physiology in some key ways. So one of the key ways it does that is it downregulates the production of sex hormones, which honestly could be very related to early menopause, because you have that's kind of what menopause is in many ways. It's the decreased production of a lot of female sex hormones. And when our body's in sympathetic nervous system dominance, we also tend to overproduce adrenaline and cortisol, which can be very hard on the adrenals, which can create a lot of problems for other systems in the body. So Violet, I'm curious, have you done any kind of work on your autonomic nervous system? Have you done any work to get into parasympathetic nervous system dominance? Yeah, I'm curious. You don't have to share details if you don't want to. I'm going to ask, but you don't have to share anything you're not comfortable sharing here. But if you haven't done any of that stuff, I would absolutely start doing work to get your body into parasympathetic nervous system dominance more often, and see how that makes you feel, and see how that affects your symptoms if you can start doing that kind of stuff on a daily basis. What helps me the most for getting into parasympathetic nervous system dominance is something called Rest Assured. The Sounder Sleep System. It's a series of 10 recordings you can buy, I think, for $30 or $40. And they're that type of meditation I was talking about earlier, actually, where you combine your breathing with very tiny movements of your body. And the combination of tiny movements and syncing that with your breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's extremely calming and relaxing, and sometimes even produces feelings of euphoria. For me, it's very, very powerful for me to do things like that, and that would be a place to get started with that kind of work if you haven't already. Oh, Jack, I'm so glad to hear that. You consulted with Chaikin last week, and it was really good. Consulting with the doctor here to see if she can order his tests. Oh, and you got off the phone with the new GP. Jack, it sounds like things are turning around. Sounds like you're making things happen. Some really, really good things. I'm so happy for you. All right, guys. So I love the question Raf just asked. What are they testing? I don't think Jack has had any testing scripts submitted yet because he's trying to work with a doctor here in the US. So Jack is in the UK. He wants to work with a doctor who's here in the US, but the US doctor can't order blood work for Jack because he's in the UK. So Jack needs a doctor in the UK who's willing to order the tests the US doctor wants. It's a tricky situation. Telemedicine regulations have loosened a little bit and enabled some, overseas work like that, but there are still restrictions on how that can happen. So like there are a few strings that need to be pulled for Jack to get to work with this US doctor. But we'll see if he can make it work. The doctor's going to need a good model to do that. Let's see. I don't want to cut this conversation short between Raf and Jack, but I just gave myself a double chin. But I need to hop. I have 3 minutes before a work meeting starts. I'm in back-to-back meetings today. It's a little crazy, but it's okay. And I need like bio break and to like have like a breather before this next meeting starts. I need to get my head in the right headspace. So I'm going to need to drop here. It's been wonderful speaking with all of you. Violet, welcome so much. Also good to see you, Raf and Jack. I'll be here again next Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern time to answer your questions about how to live better while you still have severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. Let's see. I want to catch up on the chat here before I go. You have no thyroid, Violet. You haven't worked on it in a while. You're thinking Tai Chi. Tai Chi can be really, really great for activating parasympathetic nervous system dominance. Absolutely. And not having a thyroid makes things a lot harder. I have a thyroid, but I also have autoimmune hypothyroidism, so I have Hashimoto's, so I take thyroid meds every day. Jack says, thanks, Raf. Probably deficiencies. Thanks for your time, Kristin. Sorry you came on late again. No apologies needed. This is for you guys to be here when you're capable and ready and all that kind of good stuff to participate and watch. So, Violet says, thank you. You're welcome, Violet. I hope you have a great day too. Raf says, keep us updated, Jack. All right. Awesome. Gotta run. Sending you so much love and health. I'm Kristin, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye.